Jake Paul never fails to surprise his fans whenever a new fight is announced, and this time, he's set to take on one of the greatest fighters of all time, Canelo Alvarez. A potential bout between Jake Paul and Canelo once seemed like an impossible dream, but it may soon become a reality. However, Canelo hasn't held back, throwing serious shade at the YouTuber-turned-boxer. He mocked Paul by highlighting the vast difference between facing real professional fighters and the celebrities, or MMA stars Paul has previously taken on.
How easy of a fight is Jake Paul? How easy of a fight is Jake Paul?
I don't want to say anything about things. I think he's doing good things for his own thing, but boxing is a little bit different when you fight in a
Real fight.
2 years ago, Jake Paul made a bold declaration, claiming that he would one day step into the ring with Canelo Alvarez. Now, after securing a victory over heavyweight legend Mike Tyson, he is once again calling out the undisputed super middleweight champion.
1-0, right? Boxed in the Olympics, didn't medal. 1-0, just had one professional fight. He's a cruiserweight. You can have him, and I'll tell you what, I'll even provide him. Well, actually, let me be careful on the price.
I don't know.
No, but I'm saying, I've got.
Let's do it, no problem. I already said I'm down. We're betting $1 million. I'm taking on anyone on your roster with under 10 fights. No problem. And that's right now, too. Just wait till
Anytime.
Just give me a couple years, bro. Ooh, I'm coming for your boy Canelo.
Yeah?
I'm coming for your boy Canelo. That's on God.
Look, I don't think he minds that fight.
By calling out Canelo Alvarez, Jake Paul has even surprised Eddie Hearn, who once dismissed him as nothing more than a sideshow in boxing. Hearn, one of Jake's biggest critics, had previously questioned his legitimacy as a real contender. However, after defeating Mike Tyson and now setting his sights on Canelo, Jake Paul has forced even the toughest skeptics to take notice. With his confidence at an all-time high, he is aiming for the biggest fight of his career, one that would surpass even his bout with Mike Tyson.
There are some reports now coming out that Canelo-Jake Paul is a thing in May as well. Which, by the way, what a freaking year for Canelo Alvarez. Holy shit. Those are two gigantic paydays. And he's the one who coined the phrase payday, payday, payday. So these are two massive things.
Because I think a lot of people are going to want to see Jake Paul lose. And
100%.
Let
Canelo's going
Alvarez
to
is
do this.
gonna be like
Canelo would do this. And we're
let's
just talking...
backtrack to your first question, which is interest. I'm very interested. Because, as I've long said, I'm on this corner. I only care about Jake Paul in spectacles. It would be an absolute spectacle to see a pound for pound. First, he did Mike Tyson, which, and I'm not going all the way back, but I'm saying in his most recent outing, Mike Tyson, an all-time legend, a pop culture icon, versus Jake Paul, is a spectacle.
Canadian-American journalist Ariel Helwani predicts that Jake Paul has no chance against Canelo Alvarez, but acknowledges that the fight would be a massive spectacle. He notes that Paul has been calling for this matchup for a long time, and if it actually happens, he deserves credit for making it a reality.
It's a close fight. Does it diminish the gigantic fight in September, or does it make you more interested? Because I think now, I mean, David Benavidez offered a referring point, but I think a lot of people think Canelo is just going to be too big for Terence Crawford. If it's a big fight, close fight that a lot of people will watch in May, would it make the basically?
I'm going to give you a spoiler.
If you're Turkey and you got this gigantic fight at Allegiant Stadium in September, are you like, man, what are we doing here?
A fight between Canelo Alvarez and Jake Paul would be a complete mismatch in terms of skill, experience, and overall boxing ability. Canelo, a 4-division world champion, possesses elite skills, power, and ring IQ. While Paul has made significant improvements since turning professional, his competition has primarily consisted of MMA fighters and older boxers.
Rick, this is like a Dana White video they're gonna make in the outside.
It's going to be in black and white.
You know what? I'm willing. I'll roll the dice on this one. I like my odds. There ain't no way. There is no chance in hell that Jake Paul is competitive with Canelo Alvarez. It's not possible. I'm sorry.
Go full on Eric here. Go full on Eric. We need the full.
We need the black and white. We need the lower third. Boxing media member. I respect what Jake Paul has done in a very short time in boxing. He is not a boxer the caliber of Canelo Alvarez.
Helwani highlighted the fact that Canelo Alvarez is one of boxing's biggest stars, having dominated the sport for over a decade. He also referenced Jake Paul's involvement in boxing, possibly hinting at the sport's evolution into a more entertainment-driven business.
I don't love Terrence's odds in that fight. I actually have Terrence #1 pound for pound still. I don't love his chances. I just think he's going to be too small. Ultimately, and Canelo's going to be too big. But he's got a hell of a better chance than Jake Paul does. I'll tell you that much. Because it's 0.
What a world! If this, by the way, if this happens, both have yet to be officially announced. If it happens, what a freaking world we're living in. Jake Canelo goes back-to-back Allegiant.
Hey,
Yeah,
oh
boss
my
move.
God, could you imagine?
Boss move.
I see all these reports that are like Canelo Crawford first ever fight at Allegiant. What
Okay,
if it's actually?
Oh yeah.
Paul?
Or you can go back to Cowboy Stadium.
Serious.
Is it Netflix worthy? Netflix worthy? That's
I think so.
I think so.
yeah.
I mean, it's
I'll
big
give it
business, man. Canelo is pound for pound, massive superstar.
Also, the fact that Canelo, one of the true faces of boxing over the past 10 years, is the guy like you beat up
He could
Mike
be the
Tyson,
hero.
Canelo's
and now come to me.
Canelo Alvarez last fought at 168 pounds, though he has competed as high as 175 pounds. In contrast, Jake Paul has fought at weights ranging from 181 pounds to as high as 228.5 pounds in his last fight. According to journalist Dan Raphael, discussions about a potential fight between Canelo and Paul are in the early stages, with a tentative target date of May 3rd in Las Vegas, coinciding with Cinco de Mayo weekend, a time when Alvarez traditionally fights. Multiple sources with knowledge of the talks told Fight Freaks Unite that while conversations are ongoing, they remain very preliminary, with several key details still to be worked out, including the contract weight. Additionally, Alvarez, now 34, has reportedly agreed to a bout against pound-for-pound great Terrence Crawford in September at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas. Canelo currently holds 3 of the 4 major super middleweight titles, and his manager, Eddie Reynoso, recently stated that IBF champion William Skull and WBC #1 contender Christian Mbili were the 2 most likely opponents for his May fight.
That feels to me like it was an emotional response. So that's how it feels. I'm only speaking. But it feels to me that someone said somewhere and just said, oh, you know, that's how it kind of feels. Okay? This cannot be the case. Canelo versus Jake Paul. That's not how it plays. Right. That was, you know, I was warming up to the idea of Canelo versus Jake Paul because they were going to give her the most anticipated fight this year. Okay, Canelo Alvarez. You know, because listen, like I said, I love when Javante, I didn't mind Javante take the fight Jake Garcia because he was giving us Ryan Garcia after that.
Jake Paul, the YouTube and social media star, secured a unanimous decision victory in his last fight against 58-year-old former heavyweight champion and boxing Hall of Famer Mike Tyson. The bout, consisting of 8 2-minute rounds, took place on Friday, November 15th at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Paul's previous fight was streamed live on Netflix, drawing an audience of 72,300 attendees in the arena and peaking at 65 million concurrent streams worldwide, including 38 million in the United States. In the main event, Paul and Tyson stepped into the ring for a highly anticipated heavyweight clash. Tyson displayed flashes of the dominance that once made him a champion, while Paul landed clean shots throughout multiple rounds, ultimately gaining the edge with the judges. In the end, Paul was declared the winner by unanimous decision.
I'm fascinated by the Crawford Canelo effect.
Yeah.
Because ultimately Canelo stepped up 2 weight classes to go to light heavyweight and got dealt with by Dimitri Bivol. So there's a part of me that thinks there's a distinct possibility that will happen to Terence Crawford. Because the natural at that weight is Canelo, but Crawford is a natural.
Yeah.
He's a brilliant fighter. So it'll be a great fight, even with fight.
I mean, first I've got to say, if Canelo goes in with Jake Paul, many will say, oh, that's it. The sport of boxing is gone.
Well, no, I don't think the sport of boxing's gone because if Canelo goes in with Jake Paul, let's have it right, guys. No, I mean, you're talking about Jake Paul calling out granddads in Mike Tyson, and that fight, you know, you look at that where Mike Tyson could barely walk up the steps at the time, and it became evident when we was out there.
You were bloody champion in it.
Yeah, that's before I got out there, Simon, and saw the state of Mike Tyson. If I'm totally honest, he weren't in the greatest of health, and he done his job, and we saw.
Yeah.
Jake.
But it is a fair argument, Spence. I know that what you're saying has validity to it as well.
In a fiery statement, Spencer criticized the idea of a Canelo versus Jake Paul fight, calling it a joke and warning that such a matchup would damage boxing's reputation. He questioned how someone could earn a world title shot based on social media, fame rather than actual skill in the ring. Spencer firmly believes that fights driven by celebrity and hype undermine the sport's integrity.
If you put Jake Paul in a ring with a bona fide all-time great, you're discrediting the sport. You're making it about something that's not competitive. It's just money. It's taking the mickey out of the fans, and it's giving Jake Paul some validity by association. That's what it's doing. And that's why people will say, come on now, that's taking boxing in the wrong direction.
Simon, you're right. It puts boxing into disrepute in many ways, if I'm totally honest, because, like you say, it's sort of disrespecting the sport. Jake Paul and what he's doing and all this stuff with UFC fighters and ex-champions that are 60 plus.
The proposed fight between Jake Paul and Canelo Alvarez is being heavily criticized in the boxing world, with many calling it a joke. Critics argue that the matchup is absurd and doesn't belong in the sport, given that Canelo is one of the greatest fighters of his generation, while Jake Paul has only fought in celebrity bouts and built his name through social media. Despite Paul's massive fan following, there are concerns that this fight could harm boxing's reputation, turning it into a spectacle rather than a genuine test of skill and ability. With Canelo's extensive experience and accomplishments, many believe he has no business facing someone with Paul's limited boxing background.
Right, there's a home for that. Jake Paul's fans will like that. That's a different era we're talking about, a different fan base that we're talking about. Canelo going in with Jake Paul. Where does Jake Paul earn the right to box Canelo? Exactly. Right here.
Yeah.
We're talking about a modern day great, and we're talking about current world champion. How does Jake Paul fit into that top 10? We're talking about Adam Azim, who's a legitimate, great, world-class fighter who's not even in WBC top 10. Come on, guys, we've got to have this right. Canelo versus Jake Paul is a joke, and we don't need to see it in boxing because it does put the sport really into dispute because it will, you say, where's this going? What is this all about?
The potential fight between Canelo Alvarez and Jake Paul has generated significant buzz in the boxing world, with many questioning its legitimacy. While Jake Paul has built a massive following through social media and celebrity boxing, critics argue that a fight with Canelo, one of the greatest fighters of his generation, is a mismatch. Canelo's vast experience and accomplishments, including being a 4-division world champion, make the idea of facing someone with Paul's limited boxing background seem absurd. Many fear that such a spectacle could tarnish the integrity of boxing, turning it into an entertainment event rather than a serious sport. Jake Paul's boxing career has mainly consisted of celebrity bouts, with his most recent opponent being the 58-year-old Mike Tyson. Despite a respectable record, Paul's level of competition has been under scrutiny, especially following his only loss to Tommy Fury, arguably the first legitimate boxer he's faced. On the other hand, Canelo is widely regarded as one of the best pound-for-pound fighters in the world, having dominated in multiple weight classes and faced top-tier opponents throughout his career. Canelo's former opponent, Floyd Mayweather, has even weighed in on the potential matchup, stating that once Jake Paul faces a true fighter such as Canelo, he would be completely outclassed. Mayweather believes Paul would be demolished in a fight with the Mexican superstar. Despite the concerns from boxing purists, Jake Paul has proven that he can bring massive attention and revenue to the sport, thanks to his extensive social media presence. This has led to speculation that a fight with Canelo could be a financial success, drawing huge paychecks for both fighters, even if it isn't a competitive matchup. While many believe Canelo should be facing more legitimate super middleweight contenders, such as IBF champion William Skull or rising star Christian Mbili, reports indicate that he has agreed to face Jake Paul later this year. However, Canelo's upcoming fight against Terence Crawford remains the most anticipated showdown in boxing. The two champions are set to meet in a highly anticipated bout this September, with the fight expected to take place in Las Vegas. Crawford, currently ranked as one of the top pound-for-pound fighters, will be moving up to 168 pounds to face Canelo, who has won titles in the light heavyweight division as well. Crawford, known for his incredible boxing IQ and versatile style, will be facing a tough challenge against Canelo, who has proven his power and dominance in the super middleweight division. Legendary trainer Teddy Atlas believes Crawford has the special qualities needed to pull off an upset against Canelo, pointing out that while Canelo is a powerful fighter, Crawford has the ability to hurt him and push him back. With both fighters coming from different weight classes, the fight has already generated massive excitement. Canelo's decision to face Paul in the interim has raised some eyebrows, but with a showdown against Crawford looming, it's clear that fans are eagerly awaiting what could be one of the most significant fights in boxing this year. In the meantime, the speculation surrounding Jake Paul versus Canelo continues to stir the pot. Whether this fight turns out to be a legitimate challenge or just another spectacle remains to be seen, but there's no denying that Paul's bold ambitions have taken the boxing world by storm. Canelo's dominance is being tested in ways we've never seen before, and the fight with Crawford will undoubtedly be a true test of his legacy. Do you think Jake Paul stands a chance against Canelo, or is this just another spectacle for the fans? Let us know your thoughts in the comments. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more boxing news and updates. Thanks for watching.